What to the boo?
So, I have a bit of a confession to make. I have never watched Miraculous before. The silence sounds like you don't blame me. I understand the general idea of the show, and I've watched plenty of reviews on it. Miraculous has perhaps the single most fascinating fanbase I've ever seen. This isn't like your Star Wars fanboys, or your Zack Snyder fanboys, or Jurassic World fanboys. Miraculous fans have this very unique way of loving the show unironically, and also hating this show unironically. Every time I hear people talk about the show, it's always to talk about how it could work, but it is such a dumpster fire with some of the worst writing and pacing that you could possibly imagine. You can tell the fans of this show are just masochists who enjoy the suffering that this show brings them. As someone who makes a living by suffering through bad movies and TV shows, I can relate. I have tried to watch the show myself on multiple occasions, but it just never really stuck with me, and I think by now it's just too late to try again. Apparently it's 5 seasons in, only just now completed the first arc in its story. The show premiered 8 years ago, by the way. Sorry, but it should not take you 8 years and 5 seasons to complete one arc. God, I can't believe you're making me say this, but even Big Hero 6 the series was able to complete an arc in 1 season. That says so much! Again, as I said earlier, I've never watched the show personally, just the reviews of people who have, and from what I've seen, this show just sounds absolutely abysmal, and from what I've seen from fans' discussion of the show, that sounds like a really cold take. It also doesn't help the fact that the show's creator, Thomas Estruch, I think that's how you say his last name, has shown himself to be a major asshole. Like, no joke. Just straight up a major douchebag who spends all of his free time harassing and bullying people on Twitter. And apparently is also kinda racist? Yeah, there's tons of videos on this guy too. Some people even call him the next Butch Hartman. I mean, holy shit, did you have to set a fire that fucking big to burn him? Jesus. Of course, you're more than welcome to take everything I say in this video with a pinch of salt. I am just a humble commoner staring across the river as the city that is Miraculous and its fan base burns to the ground. Anyway, I watched the Miraculous movie on Netflix. From what I can tell, this movie is to Miraculous the same way the Path to Power movie was to the original Dragon Ball. Basically, it's kind of a recap slash soft reboot of the show's origin story of where the main characters Marinette and Adrian meet each other, get their powers, fight Hawkmoth, and along the way, fall madly in love. I think that's the reason why fans of Miraculous are so passionate about it, because on paper, it's a really good premise. The show is about 2 teenagers who are given these jewels called Miraculous. You have the Ladybug, which is the power of creation, and you have the Black Cat, which brings destruction. There's other Miraculous as well, but they're never brought up in this movie, so who cares? The whole show focuses on their relationship and their funny little 4-way dynamic. Marinette loves Adrian, but Adrian loves Ladybug. But he doesn't know that Ladybug is Marinette, and Marinette doesn't know Adrian is Cat Noir. It's cute, it's funny, it just doesn't work for 8 years and 5 seasons. This is a concept that's fun on paper, but I can see how the constant will they, won't they misunderstandings would get old really fast. And this is also something that everybody says sucks in the show. This is much better suited for a movie, or at the very least, 1 to 2 seasons. So yeah, the movie serves as a sort of reimagined recap of the show so far. Obviously not all of it, but basically everything involving Marinette, Adrian, and Hawkmoth. And as someone who has never watched the show once in his life, and probably never will, the movie's fine. It's perfectly okay. It's a movie, and it exists. That's really about it. I feel like this movie is more for the fans of this franchise who have been begging for the show to get good after all these years, and now they might actually get a taste of what that would be like. There's definitely references to the show that completely went over my head. Like, maybe the dad had more going on in the show, for example. Like, they set him up for something in this movie, but then they just do nothing with him. Like, what gives? There's also this thing with Alia and... oh god, what's his fucking name again? I already forgot what it is. Oh, Nino. That's his fucking name? Nino? And he's voiced by Hunter from the Owl House? Anyway, they set up the fact that they have crushes on each other, but then it also goes nowhere. It feels like the movie is just randomly referencing these subplots from the show that have no relation to the main plot. Like, hey guys, do you remember this thing with the dad? Or how about these two? Or how about this bully character named Chloe? She's important to the show, I think. It just feels like the movie is too preoccupied with trying to line up with the show to the point where it gets distracted, and it ends up taking away time that could have been spent on developing our main characters and their story arcs more. You want to know how many scenes that Adrian shares with his dad? 2. Only 2 in the whole movie. This one scene that happens during the third act breakup and after the final battle. We're supposed to get this vibe that Adrian feels neglected by his dad, and, well, sure, I guess that's what happens, but that moment where Adrian calls out his father for being so neglectful just felt so unearned. Mainly because there just wasn't any build-up to it. There's hardly any emotional moments between Adrian and his father that lead to this moment feeling warranted. So it just rings hollow as a result. Everything involving Adrian's father and his grief for his dead wife is good, and it's a great setup for his character. The way they depict him being this desperate, tragic character is great, but he needed more interactions with Adrian. Maybe have Adrian go check on him every once in a while, and he just yells at him to get out. Have the father actively ostracize his son, so that moment where he's called out for it is earned. This especially hurts the finale when he learns that his son is Cat Noir and finally realizes he's gone too far with his actions. He goes on about how love is more powerful than death and how all he ever really needed was his son, and it's fine, but it doesn't feel all that genuine. Like they just said that because that's the message of the movie, not the message the character themselves learned. Speaking of which, Marinette also suffers from this problem. She starts the movie off being this anxious, timid girl who has no friends and is super shy of everything. But as the story goes on, she begins to build up her confidence and learns to be strong. It's an older arc, sir, but it checks out. It's a solid foundation for a character arc, but like with Adrian, there just isn't much build-up or payoff to it. Marinette gives up on being Ladybug after her first fight because she simply doesn't believe in herself, but then these two other villains show up and start causing trouble, and so Marinette just gets over it. Yeah, just like that. Her fear, her anxiety, all gone after one song number. It's very abrupt and comes out of nowhere. Nothing sparks this sudden shift in her character. Both her friends and her dad are there and in danger, but neither of them are the catalyst that triggers this development. The pieces are there, and with the slightest tweak of this moment, you could make it work. Just have Marinette notice her father or her friends, and boom, easy fix. But even with that, her character arc would be completed halfway through the movie instead of gradually throughout the whole film. And I'm sorry, that would also be a problem, because for the second half of the film, it just feels like our main leads are just meandering around with their romance without much connection to the main story. The movie just feels so aimless in this part, like it's just waiting for the next big action sequence to begin. This movie is carried solely by its animation, the chemistry between our main leads, and the music. Yeah, this is a musical fun fact. I honestly wasn't expecting that when I turned on this movie. The music is actually pretty good, especially the song Stronger Together, which again is amplified greatly by our main character's great chemistry. Even though it is trying to find breathing room with everything else in this movie, these two are genuinely very cute together. From their constant bickering and flirting to the way they fight together in these battles, it's really sweet. And speaking of the battles, these fight scenes are super fun and super imaginative. I mean, you have a mime, a stage magician, a giant balloon monster, a flying roller coaster, and a Ferris wheel off the hinges rolling around the streets of Paris, and they're all fighting on top of everything. It's a lot of fun. Honestly, I think they may have gone too hard on that particular fight scene, as it actually overshadows the final battle with Hawkmoth. It's just far more entertaining from an animation standpoint. The musical numbers are pretty imaginative too. You can tell they're going for that Disney feel with these blown up set pieces and big orchestras. Of course, it's not all perfect. The song Chaos Will Ring Today, while visually stunning, does feel a little out of character for Adrian's father. He's supposed to be this tragic character who's heartbroken and desperate to get his wife back, but this number treats him more like he just gets off on being evil. Some of these faces, man. What the fuck is that? Also, Marinette's singing voice does not match her at all. It is so distracting, and it takes me out of the movie every time.
First a song, now a yo-yo? What's next, a tea set?
I feel the same. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey guys, you are aware that Christina V, the actress who plays Marinette, is also a singer? And a really good one at that? Apparently you are, because she sings in the original show. Like, why not just let Christina sing again? Is it some contractual bullshit? God, this is so dumb. Also, boo! That rap verse in You Are Ladybug sucked ass. Boo! We need to stop inserting random rap verses into every musical. These parts are always super annoying and no one likes them. Let it die!
So we gotta go before the sun goes down.
What? Gotta get it ready
You
for the
need
big
to be
showdown.
stopped.
Overall, the movie is fine. None of the problems are really all that bad. It's just serviceable. It's a perfectly okay film that I feel like fans of the show are gonna link up with way more than me. So, as an outsider who knows little to nothing about Miraculous save for this movie, I honestly got mad Illumination vibes from this movie.
Oh, watch out!
That joke right there felt very Illumination. They played Careless Whisper in this one moment that just absolutely floored me in how awkwardly it was placed. It was so bad. And yet, that is exactly what Illumination would have done if they made this movie. When I say it feels like an Illumination movie, it's definitely a higher tier film than shit like Sing or The Secret Life of Pets. It feels more closely related to the Super Mario Bros. Movie in that both movies give fans exactly what they want, but are also very safe movies. Ladybug and Cat Noir is a perfectly okay film with good songs and animation, but its story beats and character arcs just feel like it's struggling to find room to develop properly. It's all there, and it works, it's just nothing extraordinary. I don't know, maybe I'm the complete wrong person to review this movie. I never watched the show, and after watching dozens of videos about how garbage it and its creator is, I don't think I ever will, honestly. But for what it's worth, I think the movie is worth at least one sit through. It's okay. It's a perfectly fine 6 out of 10 movie that hopefully gives fans the Ladybug and Cat Noir experience they've been dying for 8 years now. But honestly, I do hope the show sticks around. If only so more people can make videos about how absolutely terrible it is. Keep making those videos, guys, and I will watch them religiously.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found. But you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare.